Peter Bulker here, and welcome to today's edition of The Transition Guy. Now in today's episode we're going to be looking at quality of life. Now what does quality of life mean for you? See, for some people quality of life is all about having the really big house, the fancy flash cars, the really sports ones, make a big noise, etc. Having all the great holidays, having an abundance of cash, etc. For many other people it may not be that. It may be, spending time with friends and family. It may be having that sort of more balance where you have work and then you have your life. Whatever your quality of life, the reality is where you are today is the end result. Now for so many people, where they are today isn't what they envisaged when they were much younger. See, growing up people thought, this is what my life is going to be. This is the kind of life I'm going to lead. And when you're not where you want to be, you've got to say to yourself, okay, there's a reason for that. And very often when people see their quality of life where they are today, it's the end result. It's the end result of everything that they've achieved in life, everything they've done. And really, if you want a different quality of life, then you need to start changing what you do. And really, the first place where you start is you start at your quality of your results. Now, your results are your output. It's what you do. It's either going to be sort of your skill level in your job. It's going to be your ability as an entrepreneur, managing director, CEO of your organization to really generate revenues and profits. Now the end results, very much if you go back, that is determined by the quality of actions, what you do, how you do it, etc. And your actions are very much governed by the decision-making process. So you think about it, everything that you have is very much geared around the decisions that you're making. Now, some people make exceptionally great decisions and absolutely get what they want, where some of us, unfortunately, might not be so great at making decisions. I mean, how often do you make bad decisions and you think, damn, I wish I never made that decision, and then down the line you make another bad decision? I mean, I know people that make loads of bad decisions and they never learn from those bad decisions. Well, your decisions are very much governed by the kind of questions that we ask, the quality of our questions. And that's one of the things that we need to get better at. We need to be better at getting the right questions out there. See, too often we make assumptions without asking questions. And you can imagine, when you make assumptions mean that you don't necessarily have all the facts. Well, if you're not asking the right questions, well, your quality of decisions are definitely going to be interesting, which will affect your quality of your actions, your results, and ultimately your life. But in order for us to ask better quality questions, well, we need to question the quality of our beliefs and dreams. You see, if somebody has the dream, I'm going to be quite happy living in a one-bedroom flat, because really that is my dream, do you think that the questions that they tend to ask will be around that belief and that dream? Of course it will be. See, very often we have these self-limiting beliefs and self-limiting dreams, which means we don't allow ourselves to become much bigger than what we can be. And don't forget, we're human beings. One of the beautiful things about human beings is we control our destiny. And very often people just restrict themselves for whatever reason. They don't think bigger because they can't think bigger. Why do people struggle with the quality of their beliefs or dreams? That's very much because of their quality of their understanding, their education. You see, it goes back to how was you shaped as a youngster. Perhaps it will be your understanding, your education very often comes from our parents, etc. So I did an interview with Brad Sugars quite recently. And the reality is, you can learn to become wealthy. See, a lot of people see all these people that come through and they're sort of these big company owners, they've done highly successful, and people think that they're these special kind of human beings. The reality is, no, they're not. They're just like you and I. Okay, they may have had a slightly different education, etc., granted, but it doesn't mean that what they've achieved we can't achieve. Should we want to? Of course we can. We just need to think, okay, well, how are we going to do that? And how that happens is you start at the very beginning. You see, if you want to affect your quality of life, and you're thinking, well, today I am where I am, but it's not quite where I want to be, and I want to make some changes, I want to sort of get better outcomes, You need to go to the very, very bottom, and you need to start looking at your quality of your mentor, your teacher. And for many people, this is a sticking point. And this is a sticking point because, especially from the people that I work with, most of my entrepreneurs, my clients, well, they happen to be dyslexic. So you can think about it, I mean, they struggled at school because the schooling system wasn't geared towards helping them, because they were outside what you would call the normal curve. So these people with dyslexia, they probably didn't have the greatest time at school. They're very intelligent people, they just don't learn the same way as other people. So they've gone through school, hated it, and then were presented one or two options. Okay, do I go and work for somebody else, or do I go and do it for myself? Well, you think about it, well, when school hasn't been your best friend, you haven't got anything else to lose really. So a lot of people went out there and they just went into business and they thought, I've got a good idea, let me go and make it happen, which is great. And that will get you so far. But the reality is, at some stage, you've got to go back and you've got to revisit this bottom layer if you want to improve your quality of life. Now, if you take the last century, when we were talking about the whole industrial age, it was very much around doing. What can you do? And hard work was rewarded. We're now in the digital age, or the knowledge worker age, and the reality is this. The rules have changed. You see, and you can work really, really hard, but because the market, the environment around us is changing so fast, the world is changing at the fastest rate it's ever changed. The reality is we need to change with it if we want to be current and able to do that. And that's why the quality of your mentor, your teacher is important. You see, there's a key there. It's called the knowledge worker age, which means at the end of the day, you need to be assimilating knowledge if you want to affect your quality of life, because that's the base level. Now, back in the days when we were at school, there was primarily one way of learning, wasn't there? It was books. Well, today we are so fortunate. We live in an era where we can have books, we can have audio books, we can have videos. I mean, there is so much information out there. It is fair to say that we could have information overload. So for those of you looking at it, you need to start at the very bottom and go and find yourself a mentor. I did an interview probably about 7 episodes back with a guy called Mark Pinto. He runs a company out of Australia, and one of the key things he says is success today is based on the mentors he's had, the coaches he's had, because he understood very early on that he doesn't know what he doesn't know. Therefore, if he could get the whole mentor-teacher bit right, he would get his understanding, education right, and as you can imagine, the rest follows. So remember, if you want a great quality of life, you need to look at where are you stuck on this thing, on the whole ladder, and the reality is you need to go and relearn. Now, if anything I've spoken about today resonates with you, I would say head over to Bulka.com and get in contact. And remember, failing to learn is learning to fail.